Hey everybody and welcome. So this is a recording from today's session. I had to reshoot it and I've edited and summarized it because we had some technical issues. So for the first couple of minutes I'm going to give you the background of how we looked at strategy to turn our rather large and powerful networks into a revenue generator using My Most Trusted. And I'm going to take you through the overall structure first, and then I'm going to show you the recording of all the question and answers, and you can hear people commenting, etc. And I'd love to have your feedback as well. In the description will be the date of the next event. We would love to have you there. It will be recorded, but the live events are great because people can give their information live. So just check the description at the bottom for the next event, and we would love to have you register for that and join us. So let's just quickly go through it, and I'm going to take you through, and you must know if I do slides, it must be very, very important because I don't normally do slides. So let's just quickly go through what we are going to chat about and discuss in this first session. And then also I'm going to just quickly give you an overview, and then I'm going to jump across to everybody and you'll be able to hear the comments and questions live on the session today. So first of all, can we monetize referrals? Is this even an option? So we asked the question in the brainstorming session, they all said definitely. So we have these large networks, we have people, we're making referrals and business introductions, but the problem is, right, is we're not making money from them. And we believe we should. Now, if we have a look at the lead generation market at the moment, there are companies out there that actually do appointment booking. So they'll have a call center, they'll get on the phone and they'll make appointments. And very interestingly, I spoke to Jen today in a previous meeting, just an hour before the actual event today, and he had one of these companies. So I said to him, how much does he charge for leads? And he said, well, they usually charge it by the hour because they have a call center and they're phoning and they're doing the outreach. But I said to him, how much would it generally cost on average to book an appointment if a company was to use you? And he said about 500 British pounds, which is about just under 450 US dollars, 450 odd euros. That's how much an appointment is worth, guys. So my feeling is that we have an opportunity here to say, why don't we create a referral generation market where we can refer people directly and we can get a chunk of that audience, which means we can make money from it. And that was an overarching, resounding yes. Now, it's really important that we're not here to compete with LinkedIn generation companies. There's a big wide world out there with lots and lots of business. So what we're hoping is lead generation companies will come to us and we will be another cog in their wheel that they can then use to take to their clients. But of course, also, people can come to us. And I'm going to show you how that's all going to work today. All right, so I'm sick of LinkedIn spam. I think we all are. We're getting inundated with LinkedIn. We're getting messages. We're getting people from all over the world. It's so frustrating, continuously bombarding us with what can we sell you, what can we sell you? And we're getting a bit tired of this. Another major problem is fake profiles. We don't even know who's on the other end of the LinkedIn profiles. And as Twitter and Elon Musk wars continues, it looks like, up to 80% of Twitter accounts are fake and bots, which actually does make sense. Now, whether you believe it's 20% or whether you believe it's 80%, the numbers of fake profiles, fake bots, spam out there is monumental. So what we've done is we've created something very separate. Now, today, what we're going to be chatting about is a plugin to what we have already developed. My Most Trusted already exists, and I'm going to show you this just now. I'm going to show you My Most Trusted. It sits on top of LinkedIn. It does some cool stuff. It's already there. It works. You can use it now. The reason for this brainstorm is to work together with a group of people that I really respect and like working with to come up with a way that we can build a plugin so that we can actually make money from this entire process. And that's really the goal. Right, so we need to look at the process from three perspectives. From the perspective of the referrer, from the perspective of the paying client, and perspective of the downstream referrer. So what does this mean? You might know 100 people. And out of those 100 people, 10 of them might be really high quality and worthy of getting paid for. And you might refer people and make business introductions because you just love them or you just love making introductions. That's wonderful and it's out of the goodness of your heart. But there's a small percentage of those that you really should get paid for. So you are what we call a referrer and you can introduce two people to each other, right? Then you have the perspective of the paying client. So the paying client's a person that goes, you know what, I really, really want to meet 20 vets in London. And I'm willing to pay $50 for every meeting, or £30 or £100 for each per meeting. And they will then be able to have that ability to go to you, the entire network, and say, right guys, I am looking for anybody who can introduce me to a vet in London. They will then put their credit card detail in, they'll pay My Most Trusted. My Most Trusted will then facilitate with you to make the introduction. When the introduction gets made, you get paid. It's a very simple concept, and that's what we want to do, is keep it as simple as possible for now. Then we have the perspective of the downstream referrer. What if you bring on somebody who then spends money with us, like an affiliate program? And we're also building that into it as well. So you'll be able to go, well, I've got a couple of businesses that are sick of advertising. They're sick of spending all this money on Facebook and not getting a return. They're sick of the spam as well. They don't want to do it themselves. They just want to get in front of the right people. Now, when and if that happens and they want to get in front of those right people, they come to us, they'll fill out a form, right? But if you introduce them, you will get an affiliate fee of what we're looking at the moment is 5% for the entire year, even if you never talk to them again. So you'll become an affiliate to bring new clients on. Those clients spend money and get referrals. They get the referrals, and the people who actually do the introduction will then get paid. All right. So this is where we're at the moment. Now, let me just quickly show you of where My Most Trusted is now. If you don't know what My Most Trusted is, please come to one of our events. We do heaps of events. You'll learn how to do it. You'll learn how to get referrals and introductions. It's working. It's up and running. It's rocking. I just want to give you guys a quick introduction if you've never seen it before, and allow you to imagine what could potentially happen going forward. Okay, so if you're on a particular LinkedIn profile, this little guy will come up. Okay, and it'll change color based on who you're talking to. Here's another example over here. See if I can get you another. Let's take this, for example, Tim. So if I happen to be on Tim Vero's LinkedIn profile, right, doesn't matter what degree he is, what it's going to do is it's going to notify me who else is a trusted connection of Tim Vero. Now, I want to make this very clear. People in LinkedIn as LinkedIn connections, 99% of them are not known. They're just arbitrary connections. They're random connections. You accepted someone you didn't know. They're just this higgledy-piggledy mismatch. It's a disaster, right, generally. Now, I'm not really trying to poke fun of LinkedIn, but it does have some serious weaknesses. Spam is another one. Fake profiles are another one. So to get rid of this whole problem, we developed a little tool. It sits on top of LinkedIn, and it can be moved around, and it's going to notify you and say, you know what, don't reach Tim directly. Don't connect with him directly, because you'll be connecting to him cold. Instead, why not reach out to somebody who's already in My Most Trusted network and who already knows and is a trusted connection of Tim? In other words, Raj and Michelle and Brian and all these people on here, they've added Tim or vice versa as a trusted connection, which means they know Tim and they know him well enough to make an introduction for you. So instead of reaching out to Tim cold, you can reach out to these people directly, and they will then facilitate the introduction. It's human to humans introduction, and every person in here you know is a real person, a trusted connection, and it's really, they've gone through hoops, because no one's going to add a trusted connection if they haven't at least met that person. So you can rest assured knowing that the people that are meeting is going to be part of that whole trusted process. And that's essentially how trusted connections work. And again, I don't want to go into too much of the technical side. You can have a lot of fun with this, but it's very, very easy. I have a list under here of my trusted connections. If you add me as a trusted connection, or I add you as a trusted connection, you will see all of my trusted connections, and I've got about 500 of them. Now, my 500 trusted connections out there are now available for you to look at, and you can then ask for a request an introduction. In other words, you can look through my trusted connections and go, okay, there's a few people I would love to meet. Scott, may I be introduced to them? Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, I'm looking at some of the people in my trusted network, right? Let's say I'm going to take Michael Bendit or Suzette Bailey. I'm going to go and look at Suzette Bailey's trusted connections. So let's say I just met Suzette on a networking event, or I just met her through ever. I can see, oh, there's some really, really good people here. This is amazing. Wow, brilliant. I would like to meet Deb King. I can then push the request introduction button, and I can get that introduction. Okay, so the other thing I can do very quickly is I can introduce two people each other, and it automatically opens a group chat on LinkedIn. It automatically creates a LinkedIn post for you to create the introduction, and keeps a record of that introduction. A lot of people, for some obscure reason, I know why, it's because we just don't have time, don't keep a record of the introductions that they make. So this will actually keep a record of all the introductions that you make, so you can follow up with them later, etc. And you can start to see how paid for referrals can be facilitated by the process, because we're tracking and measure everything that's happening. The final thing that you could do for potentially is you could look for an accountant, for example, into the search. And what it's going to do is it's going to search my trusted network and the broader trusted network of my trusted connections, and actually list all the accountants that are here. So, or Jason Jervis is an accountant. I would really like to meet Jason, and I can request an introduction from the person that is trusted to Jason, which is Brian De Beer. So it's all about proper trusted connections, referrals, managed, organized correctly. It does a whole bunch of other really cool stuff, but please come to our events. They're all free, and you can learn how to use My Most Trusted properly. For now, I just want you to get a basic idea of how My Most Trusted works so you can envision the actual amazing system that we want to create now, which is what we're here to chat about in this brainstorm. Okay, so going back to my beloved PowerPoint whatever slide. We want to start talking about specifically how this works. So the first thing we're looking at doing is creating what we call a kind of reverse auction referral request. Now, going back again, there are people paying a lot of money out there, sales directors, sales managers, salespeople, companies, paying either lead generation companies or looking hardcore to try and get meetings with key people. Most businesses out there, like me, if I'm sitting in front of the right person, I'm very good at selling my own product. But getting to the right person is a problem. So what we want to do is we want to create a referral option where I'm willing to pay for that. So I'm going to show you how we plan on making it work. Now, this is not being developed yet. We're in development. We've got about 90% of it built, but this is where I want your feedback. And this is where things are going to start getting interesting. Okay, so here's a form. All right, let me just move my handsome face out the way there. So this is a form. Now, this will be styled correctly. It's got to be developed nicely, but I just want to build this temporarily to give you an example. So what happens is this is now a person who's willing to spend money, okay, with our network to say, I really want to meet 20 dentists in Idaho, and I will pay $50 per dentist that you introduce me to. That money, this is the form they're going to fill out. Now, if you want to join our affiliate program and find the person who wants to spend money to get in front of dentists, you will have an affiliate tag and you will fill out a quick little affiliate form. You'll become an affiliate, and you can then bring in people who are willing to spend money with us, and you will get 5% of whatever they spend for an entire year. So you bring them in, you immediately make money, even if you have nothing to do with it. Maybe it's not 5%, maybe it's less, maybe it's more. I'm just giving you guys an overall example, and this is, again, this is up for debate and for brainstorm. So let's say I'm a company and I want to get in front of 20 dentists in Idaho. I fill in my details. There'll be an affiliate tag, as I mentioned before. I'll fill out my details. I'll talk about the type of person I want to be introduced to. 20 dentists in Idaho. I don't know how to spell Idaho. There we are. How many would you like? 20. So just to let you know, when we beta test this, we're just going to allow for only one first. So people will be able to come in and just practice with only one. All right. They'll then say how much are they willing to spend per meeting. Let's say they want to spend $30 US. Once again, for beta testing, when we go live, we're only going to have one option, which will probably be $30, maybe $50. Not sure yet. But we're only, just for testing purposes, they will only be allowed to do one. So let's say I want to meet one dentist in Idaho, and I'm willing to pay $30 for that introduction. And am I willing to offer any additional commission? Yes, I'm looking to sell dentists a very specific new kind of dental equipment, and they cost $5,000 each, and I'm willing to give you a 3% commission, okay, over and above the $30 that I've paid for. Any specific geographic regions, as I mentioned, Idaho only. And any exclusions, anyone they're not looking to be introduced to. Well, I don't want to be introduced to dentists, part of the ABC Dentist Club, because I'm already with them. So not nobody within the ABC Dentist Club, because they're already a client or whatever it happens to be. So you can set this up. You can then push submit. I'm not going to do it now because I'm sure your imagination is pretty good. Once you click submit, it's going to bring up, you put your credit card details in, and you pay the $30. So now that $30 sits in escrow, like a kind of escrow account. What will then happen is within My Most Trusted, there will be another section wherever we decide to do it, probably a tab which will be something like My Jobs or Jobs Available or something along those lines. And there'll be a list of all the different jobs available. Scott is looking for a dentist in Idaho and is willing to pay $30 and a 3% commission. Cherie is looking to meet with solicitors in Sydney. So-and-so is a sales director, and that sales director is really keen to meet with procurement managers within the mining sector of a particular, whatever it happens to be. and here are the qualifications, and this is what they're willing to pay. So it'll be like a list of jobs, right? You'll be able to accept those jobs, make the introduction, make the referral. Once we then can confirm that the referral has been made and the meeting has taken place, the money will then be transferred to you. How we do that, that will be the topic of the next session that we have, and we'll talk about how we technically make it work down the line. And you'll listen to a lot of the questions just now. When you hear a lot of the questions, I'm going to deal with that in the actual rest of the session, which you'll be able to hear just now when you hear other people who are on the call. It was really great. We had about 40 people on the call today, and there was some really, really good feedback coming out of this. So you'll hear that. So just going to my beloved presentation, hopefully that gives you an idea. So now, you as a person with a network can just sit back, do absolutely nothing, wait until a job comes your way and says, so-and-so is looking to pay £300 to meet a director of Coca-Cola in UK, but must be minimum director level. And you go, hey, I know somebody like this. I know them well. I will facilitate that introduction. You can then facilitate that introduction using My Most Trusted. It's all tracked, it's measured, you can see that there's a record of it. We can measure it, and once that introduction has been made and the meeting takes place, boom, off you then go, and you then get paid. Meeting done. Now there are a few little intricacies around that which you're going to hear in the discussion just now, like what happens if I want to meet with them first? I want to make sure they're legitimate. How do we know that they're all the right kind of people? You'll be able to reach out to those people, have a conversation with them first, and then decide if you want to introduce them. So these are the kind of things that we want to deal with in this brainstorming session. So let's just quickly go through a bunch of things that you can think about in the meantime, and then you'll listen to what everybody said. So, for example, how do you define what a completed deal is? Well, we know that the introduction must be made with My Most Trusted. It's got to be added to trusted connections. You have to have it has to be done within the system. So there's quite a few hoops, simple hoops, but nonetheless hoops they have to jump through in order to be, check that it is in fact legitimate. A completed deal, let me rephrase that to a completed appointment. Okay, and when an appointment takes place, and we can see that the appointment has taken place because you know the person who you're booking, right? And once that's done, you can then just say, yes, the appointment was made, and then you will get paid. And we just have a little verification process. So it's not too difficult to do it, but there will be times when there will be a bit of contention, and we will work on a dispute resolution. I don't think that's going to be all that common, but it is definitely going to happen. How do we handle downstream referrals? You'll hear this just now. By things like an introduction broker. So you'll be able to introduce people, and you'll be able to introduce them. They'll be able to spend money. You'll get a percentage. But what you'll also be able to do is you'll be able to say, keep a list of, look at all those lists of jobs that come in. And even if you don't know those people, you can become almost like a hunter and go out and find those people for yourself, facilitate those introductions, and then get a share of that introduction fee as well. So these are the things that we're looking to build and working out how that's going to happen. I've done that. This is the client paying for introductions. That is going to be the affiliate tag. So you'll be able to have your affiliate tag, and it'll be on the URL, and anybody filling this out with your affiliate tag, you will then get, say, 5% commissions for the first year, and that could actually work out to quite a bit of money. How long does a referral request stay open before it closes and we refund that person? How do we deal with complaints and issues? Microcredit option, I looked at that. Maybe instead of offering $500 or $50 for a particular referral, maybe what we should do is have lots of little referrals where you make little money out the way. This is all stuff we're going to discuss over the coming weeks as we start to build this. But for now, I hope I've given a relatively good overview. We're super excited about this. The next meeting will be in a couple of weeks. Check the description so you can see when the next meeting is. Please register, even if you can't personally attend because you're in the wrong time zone. You will get a copy of the recording, and you'll be able to follow as we go. And as we get closer to the time, we'll be able to show you how you can register as an affiliate and actually start going. So I'm going to now jump back on to the original recording where you can actually listen to people chatting, and for the next sort of half an hour, you'll be able to hear question and answers as we go through the process. So very excited. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm super excited. I think it's a game changer. There's a wide open market, guys, a wide open market where we can get paid for the referrals that we make. And I think we need to put this together because we should be getting paid. Not for every referral. Some referrals are done out of love. But some of them, wow, there's a gaping need. People desperately need to get meetings with the right people, and they're willing to pay for those. So let's create the market. Enjoy the rest of the session, and look forward to seeing you at the next event with a new update. For now, what I want to hear from you guys, though, is in terms of the overall structure that basically says, I as an individual am willing to pay $50 per meeting. I fill out a form. I want to meet 10 lawyers in London. I'm willing to pay $50 a meeting, and I'll pay a 3% sales commission. It then goes out to you guys, and you.
It sounds interesting, and I think, Scott, what you're trying to do is turn them into warm leads rather than be cold leads. So they're actually getting warm leads that are connected.
And why
completely?
It's
a high quality lead. Like, I mean, the best leads out there are referral leads. We all know that. So if Rita introduces me to Kelvin, that's a 95% done deal because they trust each other, they know each other. Whereas any other cold outreach program is much more difficult. But what I'm saying is we already know that Debbie has a huge network right now, a huge network. So I think all I'm saying is maybe 10% of Debbie's network are super high quality, and somebody's already paying a lead generation company $500 to meet with somebody who Debbie could introduce in a second. So why not just pay Debbie for that introduction and referral?
What is your thinking about having each person decide on their own how much they're willing to pay for it, instead of, offering like, for this amount of money, you get this many leads, or or whatever, options, instead of letting them choose anything they want? What was your thinking?
Well, we might do that. So it depends on who it is. If you want to meet the managing director of Coca-Cola America, that's a what is it? A $5,000 appointment. I mean, that's what we premium. Somebody's going to pay a lot more. I don't think anyone's going to make that introduction for $30. So what we wanted to do was set a
Love you, Scott. You fed out.
Now, right now, we can facilitate this. When we go into beta launch, we can facilitate the fee. If there's a referral commission over and above that, it's difficult to track. So we're looking at that as phase 2 down the line. But right now, they fill out the form. You guys get notified. Our system shows the introductions. It facilitates the introductions, and you get paid. We're just trying to do it as simple as possible because people are so desperate to get in front of the right people right now. And we, with big networks, we can introduce them. We know those people. So I think right now people will be able to set this themselves. They can say how many introductions would they like, what is the cost per introduction that they're willing to pay, and whether they're looking to pay referral commission on that as well. Brenda, you had your hand up?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to say in context of the conversation that's going on. I've been using My Most Trusted now for a couple of weeks, and I love it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And what Rand is talking about, you absolutely can do, right? You can, so it's what I've been doing so far. When I want to meet somebody, so say I wanted to meet Rand, but I had never been in this room with her. What I would do is I would go to my contacts and I would look at who knows Rand. And then I would reach out to that person and I would say to them, and I'm doing this with, there's an automation piece in My Most Trusted that will help with this, but I was sending a message through LinkedIn to the person that I know who knows Rand. And I was saying, I see that you are connected to Rand. I'd like to connect with her. I want to talk to her about XYZ. Would you be willing to do an introduction for me? Then that person either does the introduction, or the other thing that happens, and I'm pretty sure you guys all have some people like this in your network, the person I asked for the introduction would reply and say, you know what? We were at a conference together. We were all in a great big room and we all connected. We used our LinkedIn to make connections with each other, but we didn't actually sit at the same table or talk to each other. So it's that random connection that you've got that it's not a quality one. So the ones that My Most Trusted are creating are ones that are people that we actually know. So then when I say, can you introduce me to Rand? They say, well, if they don't know me, then they're going to say, well, I've got to meet with you first. So this whole process speeds it all up. What Cal's proposing makes it all faster.
Sorry, Ron?
So you're leveraging your existing credibility onto the
other person. Yes.
Yes.
So that's how we're doing it if you do it manually. But please, guys, keep in mind, within My Most Trusted, it works like LinkedIn. You have access, right, to your first degree, which means somebody has to go and add your own trusted connections. And you go to meetings and events and meet people, right? Or use the system. So you might have 10 trusted connections. You can then see their trusted connections, which is like a second degree, which opens you up to 100 trusted connections. But that's all. That's all you can see. Now, we've got 2,000 users across tens of thousands of potential trusted connections. You're not going to access those. That's why if you fill out a form and say, I'm looking to meet this kind of person and I'm willing to pay this amount, you get access to the entire network. That's the key difference. And I think that, Randy, that might answer your question as well. So if you're looking to meet 20 lawyers in London, we put that out to our entire network as a job, like a job, and go, who knows 20 lawyers? And people go, I know 5, I know 5. This saves me, who's willing to pay for it, the time of meeting trusted connections, adding trusted connections, going through that whole process, doing all the networking. But somebody like Brenda, who already has a large network, can go, I'll introduce you to 20 lawyers, like that. I'll take 20 times $50. Thank you very much. Brenda gets paid. She makes the introductions because she's done the work to do that. Does that make sense, guys? Is this starting to come together? Michelle, did you want to say something?
Yes. How would it work if, let's say, Brenda and Ruan know the same people with the necessary details to that relationship? How would you decide who gets paid that referral fee for that same connection?
Yeah, so that's a good point. So what'll happen is it'll be a job. You'll have like a job card. If everyone's used to using a tool like Fiverr.com, where you do, or freelancing websites where you say, I want a logo designed, and you pay the money for the logo. Fiverr holds the money and then they do the logo job. And when you accept the job is finished, you pass it over. Same kind of idea. So if you know that person, then you will be able to get that job. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, because one of the things I wanted to show you guys, right, is the person has to be very specific. So is it geographic regions? I don't want to meet people. I want to meet managing directors of companies in the food and beverage industry, but not Coca-Cola, because they're already a client of mine. So there'll be a specific job card that gets created. Now, in My Most Trusted, there will be a job button here somewhere, however we decide to build it. And it'll show you the jobs that are available. You can then accept that job. When you've accepted that job, you'll have, say, an hour or whatever we decide to complete that job or to do the introduction. And once that introduction is made, that job disappears because you've now taken over that job and you now own that job, if that makes sense. That's how we stop that from happening. Because what we're going to end up happening, guys, is you're going to be using LinkedIn, right? And you're going to be seeing a list of jobs available. Oh, so-and-so wants lawyers, so-and-so. And you're going to go, oh, I know somebody in this. I can do the introduction. What are they willing to pay? $100 and 3%. Cool. I'm just going to contact that person and make the introduction. And I've just made myself $100 minus 30% fee plus a potential introduction. So I can literally just make money simply by referring people. But there is one more thing I want to mention, and that is it's very possible that there might be a little bit of work before the introduction gets made. So instead of me going, well, I'm just, I'm my brother-in-law is the managing director of Coca-Cola America. I'm not just going to go, hey, I'm going to make that introduction for $100 and 3%. I'm going to say, listen, I need to meet with you for half an hour first. I need you to chat about this. I need to know what you're trying to sell, what your approach is going to be, what you're looking for. So when I make the introduction, it's done properly. It's like a premium type approach. And this is what I wanted to get your guys' feedback on. We could put almost like a type of coaching fee. So you could turn around and say, well, actually, I'm willing to take the job, but are you willing to pay me another $50 because I've got to sit with you and really make sure this process is streamlined? Anyone want to comment on that?
Maybe something, let's say somebody wants to meet Randy and there's 10 people that wants to introduce Randy, as opposed to somebody that is asking to meet Tracy and there's only 2 people that can introduce Tracy, that you have a sliding scale of value to that lead?
Well, kind of. The value will be on what the person's prepared to pay. So remember, I'm looking at this from a lead generation company and working with lead generation companies where people are saying, listen, you're currently paying $500 to get a telesales company to cold call people, destroy your brand reputations, hound people cold call on LinkedIn. Why don't you pay us $200, half that amount, and we'll get somebody to do it? But if they say, well, I'm going to pay $50, then no one's going to accept the job because there's not enough money in it. So your sliding scale should, in theory, be based on the amount of money that person's prepared to pay. So you can go back to that person and say, listen, you're asking $50, I'll do it for $200. And you can negotiate in a way. Randy, does that make sense? You've got your hand up. There's a few people with hand up. Let's go through it.
Yeah, I had it up right a while ago. I wanted to explain that I should have started by saying I think this is a brilliant idea. But I'm a lawyer, so the reason I'm asking these questions is not because I don't like the idea. It's because I'm trained to look for the potential problems so that you can address them before they happen. And so that's kind of why when I'm asking these questions, I'm trying to have you think about, okay, this is an issue, and then before you go live with it, you've already thought about how to fix it. So I'm still kind of stuck on the idea of people saying how much they want to pay, because if you say there's a $30 minimum, I'm going to start with a $30 minimum probably and say, oh, I want to meet these people and see if I get any response. And if I don't, then maybe I'll go up to 50. And then that's a lot of work, I think, on your end with people starting low and working up until they get responses. And so something has to be built in to prevent that kind of.
Yeah. Well,
but in general, I think it's a great.
Yeah, no, we're going to get lots of these things, Randy. And, the purpose of today is really top line, to come up with a beta version, which we can have ready very shortly, because 90% of the tech is built. What I'm looking for from you guys is to say, okay, when we go beta, let's keep it really simple. We'll only do a $30, for example, to begin with. Well, let me ask you this just very quickly in the chat. And I know there's other questions which we're going to get to, which is fantastic. And I'll get to all of you guys. Just put in the chat do you think a $30 minimum is correct? Just say yes if you think yes, or no, and then the amount that you think a minimum should be. Yes, yes, yes. A couple of yeses coming in. Yeses, yes, yes. Okay, so a lot of yeses coming in at the moment. So $30 sounds like the right kind of amount to start with. Now, if it goes up, we can move it. Randy actually thinks maybe $50. I like the way you think, Randy. We all agree. A few other people think maybe $50. Which is okay. So we get that. No, we can work with it. So once again, if you, because there's different downstream referrals that we can work on. But if you start with $30, somebody's put cash up front, they've made the payment, this is now a commercial transaction. So I think psychologically that makes a difference. Henk, you're next in line with your hand up. Henk?
Yes. Yeah, I was switching. I wanted to add to this. Like, I'm getting regular people scheduling calls with me for introductions. I'm living in China and I've run a makerspace in China for 6 years. I got a network of like 8,000 people here. So a lot of times people want referrals to manufacturers or service providers. And I've tried to run my own membership for a while, which I just failed at. I'm not good at those things. And like 2 months ago, somebody was referred to me to help them. And we made a deal. He would pay me $3,000 for an introduction, which I know is quite a lot of money when I hear you talk. Yeah. Because I trust people, I introduce him to one of my good friends who runs the factory, what he's looking for. And then the guy just simply ghosted on me. So I sent him a couple of emails. He doesn't reply. And this guy is the director of a media company in Switzerland. It's not a no-name guy. And I mean, the point what I'm trying to make is, like, people like me who kind of are good of trust, we sometimes miss out. We like to have like an agent taking care of us, like an artist. Like, of course, I could legally protect myself better. It's not like the thing what I like to do. So, I mean, if there's a platform like yours where things can be streamlined, even if it's not 3,000, it doesn't really matter. It's the fact that things are getting structured and organized, and I don't have to look after things.
Yes, you've nailed it. So this is exactly what we're looking to create. Why I want people like you, because you've got the network. Now, once again, listen to what Henk said, you get up to $3,000 a referral. Guys, I'm seeing a massive market here that is so untapped because of the fact that you've got people referring for love, and the value of those referrals is not being generated. And people like Henk come along and give us an idea of what that value is. What I want to do is I want to provide the ability for you guys to make an income and be in the right and get in front of the right people at the same time. So once again, thanks, Henk. I think you just made it clear. And the structure where it's maintained, like Fiverr or any of those systems, where there's actually a structure where you can see the referrals, you can see the jobs, you can see what's going on at each step. We'll handle the technology. That's what we do best. But how it gets structured, what the minimum amounts are, how we do it, this is where I want you guys to come in. Armin, you're up next with your hand up. And then we've got Alan, and then Via, and then Cherie's got some questions from the chat. Armin?
Yes, hello. My name is Armin. I'm from Germany. Yes, I'm one of my friends was one of the founder of LinkedIn. Yes, Konstantin Gericke. Yes, and I developed profitable networking. So I'm running 28 groups in LinkedIn, and we are combining referral marketing and affiliate marketing. So my question is, do you have a point system of kind of for the referrals? Because it's a big difference if I introduce, for example, Brenda to someone whom I know 10 years and with whom I made 1 million turnover. It's a big difference whether it's only a LinkedIn contact. So it's
okay.
So Ivan Meissner, for example, founder of BNI, created the VCP process: visibility, credibility, profitability. Yes, and in my opinion, yes, 15 years ago, I wanted to have the contact to Hollywood, yes, to Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, Christopher Nolan, or Roland Emmerich, yes, to make a blockbuster movie, yes, and so to get the contact to a very high qualified person, it's much more difficult, yes, and then one is then I'm able to pay much more money, yeah, and so, for example, if I introduce, let's say, Brenda, if I know her skills, her knowledge, I must test her, must make test offers, yes, then all the referrals she had, do I know the referrals that she has, yes, and then if I trust the people, and then if many people of my network trust Brenda, then I only will introduce her to a very high qualified person of my network.
Yes.
Because otherwise I would destroy my network. I would destroy my credibility and my reputation. Yes, and to really high qualified person, I introduce only person from my network where I made turnover with them, and quite a lot of turnover, because otherwise it's very dangerous. Yes, destroy your network.
I understand. Right. So at the beginning of this, when my internet was down, I wanted to just, because many of you are not familiar with My Most Trusted yet. So the first thing I want to just quickly show you and mention is to answer your point about, are these people that you're working with just ordinary LinkedIn connections or not? The answer is absolutely not. So the only referrals that get made are when you've actually added people to your trusted connections. It's a little tool that sits on LinkedIn, and you can actually add your trusted connections. So they're now part of your trusted connection network. This is not an ordinary off the bat LinkedIn referral. Every person in the tool is a trusted connection of somebody else. No bots, no automation, no fake profiles, no spam. Everyone here has been added by somebody who knows and trusts them. So I just wanted to make you guys understand that. So when you do a referral, it's, you know that that individual is known and trusted. Otherwise, I can go, oh, cool, I'm a connection with this arbitrary person, but I don't actually know that person. I've never met them. I've never had a discussion. And now I'm going to try and refer a friend to that individual. So the first thing I want to mention is that it's all within the trusted group. So that's number one. Number two, you're absolutely right. You do not want to create a referral, even if you're getting paid $1,000 for it, to somebody and give it to somebody very high quality connection, only to discover that that person is going to sit down and try and sell them an insurance policy off the bat, and it becomes a hard sale. That is why you are able to meet with that person first, have a conversation with them, and possibly even charging a fee over and above that to do that. Because if this was me referring somebody to high quality, I'm going to say, no. You and I are going to sit down for 15, 20 minutes, and I'm going to show you how you can speak to this person, how that person thinks, the type of presentation style, and give them advice on how best to actually sit down and close that deal. This is what we're looking at doing. That said, if I look at the lead generation appointment booking market right now, the majority of the money is not in the top end, the Steven Spielbergs of the world. It's in the middle end. It's, I want to meet 20 accountants in London as quickly as possible. I've got a great product for vets. I just want to make as many appointments with vets as possible. Either I can go onto Facebook and spend a bunch of money advertising to vets. I can hire an appointment booking company to phone all the vets and talk to them. Or you can come to My Most Trusted, offer $50 an appointment, and get 50 appointments with vets in a few hours or a couple of days. That's the market that we're looking for. It's that middle tier. Armin, does that make sense? I don't see this working too well for Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it makes sense in the middle class, yes, and it makes sense, yes. And the most important thing is, in my opinion, as an incentive, that, for example, if then the referral, if you introduce someone, then he will get also affiliate commission on the following up orders that will create it within the next year or something like this. Yes. For example, if I introduce someone to the network, yes, and then he gets to know Michelle, for example, Michelle Scott, yes, and give to Michelle Scott an order, yes, then I should participate on the order that my referral between the two parties, yes.
You could. Yeah, you could do it that way, Armin, but right now, as long as you bring in the person who's willing to spend the money, even if you do nothing with that deal, then you'll still get paid a referral commission, and Michelle does all the work. That's fine. Yeah. But you're right. There are people out there, and some of you on this call and listening to this right now going, I want to become like a broker. If a job comes up for 20 doctors in London, I don't know 20 doctors in London, but I'm going to go to My Most Trusted. I'm going to find somebody who knows 20 doctors. I'm going to contact them, and then I'm going to get a cut of that deal to get the $20. Yes, that's precisely the kind of thing we want to start to get to. Just so cognizant of time. Thanks, Armin. Good points there. Alan, you're next.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Alan.
Well, Scott, first of all, a brilliant concept. I want to go ahead and put Toby Nagy on blast. He's the one that told me about your incredible platform. I'm an affiliate by nature, so I love this concept. I don't know if you considered having a position or something within the org structure that when somebody fills out the application, they're able to then talk to another individual that can kind of pre-qualify, because I understand what Vera was talking about, and definitely Brenda made the comment about, the legalities and everything else. I do understand is because most business owners, they always believe in it. What's in it for me? Well, I always tell people I market in reverse. I realize that a lot of my market, for example, is in the home-based business industry. However, a lot of them have the products and services that maybe can go to someone who's in the SEO or the legal point of view. So if you had that middleman or woman that is able to kind of clear the path, so to speak. Just throwing out there, I do this full time. I would be honored to just put anybody in front of the people that I know. You have an amazing concept, sir. I can see it changing lives. So thank you for putting this together.
Oh, thank you, Alan. This is really, really great. So you made an excellent point, and you mentioned the way if I could describe what you've just said is that you've got a broader network, and then somebody's going to fill out a form and say, I want to meet 20 doctors, and here's my credit card. I'm putting $50 per meeting. You have a couple of you guys who are like they were known as mavens, but you like super connectors, if you like. And then you guys will see those come up and you get almost like your first look at it. And then you guys can go out and start picking people out and say, this is the right person. And you can add fuel and turbocharge the process, because you're actually going to look for people in My Most Trusted using your powerful networks. Alan, love it. That's exactly the kind of reason we're having this discussion today. Yes. Now okay, so I'm looking to, let's say I'm looking to get in front of sales directors, okay? And I'm struggling to get hold of sales directors. I've tried spamming them on LinkedIn. I've connected. I've been nice. I've phoned them. They're sales directors. I can't get hold of them, right? And sales directors in good-sized companies. And I'm just not having any joy. I'm tearing my hair out. I'm spending money on Facebook ads. It's going nowhere. We've all been through that. Now, I fill out a form on this My Most Trusted. I put my credit card details in and I try a few. And then Alan comes and goes, right, I'm going to be your like account manager, so to speak. I'm going to go out and help you speed up the process. It's like a dream come true for businesses, an absolute dream come true. Because now I know that I can get in front of those sales directors and I'm willing to spend a couple of $100 on an appointment because I know that I've got somebody who's going to help me get in front of those. So thank you, Alan. And yes, we are trying to change lives.
Well,
Exactly
no,
that.
absolutely. And just want to put a little final spin into it is because I worked at a hospitality when you called the hotel and they thought they were talking to a call center. They were actually talking to, I mean, a hotel, they were talking to a call center, but we really got to understand that, for example, they need enrolling in bed or amenities for the kids. And the more you know about your client and you memorize them and you maybe have a conversation about sports or something, and that middleman or middlewoman could turn around, and by the time he gets to the end, you know, somebody like Buddy Hodges, I see him over in the corner. He's a great guy, by the way. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, pleasure, Alan. Yeah, there's some good people. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to give people like you, Alan, and others who have got large networks, the ability to start monetizing them in a way, in a safe platform where people are getting what they really need, which is great quality meetings with people they want to get in front of. Guys, I can't tell you how important that is to people. And before we just quickly go to Via, and the other thing is, because when we next meet, which will, I'm looking at the same time in 2 weeks' time, when next we meet, have another meeting, we want to have the ability for you guys to also have be the affiliate. So if you go out to somebody and you're the first in, best dressed, so to speak, first come, first serve, and you go, you've got to try this, Damien, just try it with one person. You bring them in, they fill out the form, they try with one person, pay $30 for a meeting. It goes out to the network, they fill it, and then they use us again and again and again. Because you brought that person in, you'll get paid. We're looking at probably 5% of whatever they spend for the whole year.
Multi-level marketing.
Not multi-level marketing at all. It's not multi. It's just one tier. It's just one tier. No, please don't. We're not multi-level marketing. Yeah, it's not multi-level. But yes, it does have tiers in a commission structure, which is quite common. Via.
Hey, Scott.
To see you.
How are you doing? Okay. So welcome to the States. Hopefully I can see you in New York. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're close now in Florida.
Yeah. So Scott, I like the idea about introducing the service providers, because I always, introduce my accountant to everybody, and maybe he has like 100 or 200 of my, personal contacts which are working with him, but I never got paid for it. So this could be a good option. But I want to flip it around, because I'm looking at it from my point of view, because I'm a business owner. And I've launched a new business currently where we offer virtual CTO services. So we're always looking for non-tech founders to work with. So now what I'm doing currently is, and I want to see how I can fit it into your model, is right now, I've gone to my first level. And what I do is I give them 10% of the referral fee for the first year if they help me introduce to a good potential client. But now, if they help me close it, then I increase it to 20% for the first year. And what that does is that it's monetizing their contacts, right? But it's not flipping. So how do I put that whole concept with you, where right now you're talking $30 and $50 for introduction to service providers or brokering, but how do I flip the switch as a business owner where I can actually give a better deal to my first level contacts who can bring me some good leads, and I can convert and I can get more clients and more business?
Okay, so there's a couple of points here. So first of all, let's just take it as if you're a paying client looking for leads. Okay, so what you would do is you go in and you would fill out that form that I showed you. And obviously, as I said, guys, well, this will all be properly designed and it'll all look good down the line. It's all practice that we're just playing around at the moment. You'll fill out the form, But now let's say Via, Buddy introduced you. Buddy would send you a link to this form, and because Buddy introduced you to this form, Buddy will get 5% for the first year of any money you spend with us. So Buddy found you and introduced you to us. What you would do then is you would say, right, I'm looking for this person. Geographically, I'm looking for only the USA, right? Because I'm offering a CTO service, you are looking for a specific, let's say it's manufacturing companies with a turnover between this and this. I'm looking to meet with the owner or the CEO. That would be your basic. For that, you're willing to spend $100, plus you will pay 3% commission. It's only the referral. You do all the sales yourself. Now, there are other companies that might even be in this meeting already listening. There are other lead generation companies. We want to work with those lead generation companies where you would go, they will say, well, hang on, Via, we can then take it to the next level. We'll contact those people for you and we'll try and take it to the next level of sales for you. So that's how it would work. So you would literally be like a so-called paying client. Or you would go to a lead generation company and say, I don't want to do anything. You handle it. That lead generation company would then come to us. They would fill out the form. They would offer $50 or $100 for the referral. They'll take over the referrals. They'll pre-qualify them to get them to the point, and they will then charge you separately. And that's another market that we're looking at. So it's working with those lead generation companies. So we're just that initial piece of the puzzle. But some people want those meetings. So I'm happy to sell it myself. I just want to sit with sales directors, hypothetically. Put me in front of a sales director, I'll sell it myself. And I'm willing to pay $50 a meeting. Boom, I put it out there and 5% referral commission. And it goes out to the network, and the network will then get paid, and I get the introductions. The final point of your question is that how do you maintain your first degree connections? That's get to use My Most Trusted properly, and that'll teach you how to do that yourself.
Yeah, so I'm pretty good with that. But what my thought was that these are some great answers. Thank you for that. But just one clarification is that I want to sit with people, not lead generation, but more likely people who it might be lead generation too, but it might be people who can actually help me get on a call with me on, maybe it's a Zoom. They can sit with me with that potential client and help me close it too. So it's not only introductions, it's like sitting in that, because their credibility,
sales.
Yeah, their whole credibility helps me close the deal, because it's like Scott, let's say a CEO of a company, and you know that they need help, they need a CTO. They're like, okay, we could be a good person to work with them. Let me get that. And I've already set up a deal with you where I say, I'm going to give you 20% for the first year for closing that deal. And you said, let's get on a call. Let's close this deal. How do you put that?
Yeah. Okay. So I bet I bet you there's one or two people who are offering that service on this call right now. They'll probably send you a little private chat message. I know one or two companies who do that straight away, who do that. They do the full sales from end to end. Now, what we'll do is we'll be the beginning of that process for you, but you wouldn't work with us directly. You would work with one of those companies, and they would work with us, and they would continue on. So that's why. I mean, even Alan might be able to help you with that. But so Via, the problem that you're facing in your company now is the whole world is facing this problem. That's why we find a solution, guys. This is massissive. And I'm really hoping you guys can all see
But I'm going to touch base with you offline, and we'll talk more about it.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, Laura. Yeah, Laura. I can't remember her surname, but I don't know. Is she on? Laura, I'm sure will pop you a little message via behind the scenes. She's fantastic. We're partnering with her as well. Okay. Any other questions from the chat, Cherie?
Yes.
I know if you guys need to go, and I realize we'll have a recording which we'll send, but other questions we can deal with.
So just very, very quickly, Randy wants to know, she may have missed it, how much does My Most Trusted take before paying the referrers?
Okay, this is one of the things I wanted to discuss at the beginning when the internet issues to have this conversation. Right now, to start off with, what we're looking is this, is there's two types of fees. One of them is a referral commission. So if a deal gets done and you make the referral, right now as it stands, we will not be part of that process. You keep 100% of that. So if there's any referral commission, that's all yours. In terms of the actual fee, we pay 70% and we keep 30%, possibly paying out a fee on top of that for other referral affiliate commissions. So it'll be a 70-30%. So if it's a $30 meeting, you'll get $20 plus $100 of anything else that comes out of that. So we keep 30%. That's what we're looking for at the moment. Just out of interest, how do people feel about that? Does that sound fair to you? Anyone want to mention anything? Are you guys cool with that? Everyone says that's great. That's fair.
I missed, wait, what did you say that you keep 100% of? I mean, that the person keeps 100% of? I thought that was
if there's referral commission. So if you introduce me to a sales manager tomorrow, Randy, I will pay $30 for the appointment, and I'll pay 5% if a deal comes off. That 5%, we're not going to manage that. That's an agreement between you and me. My Most Trusted won't be part of that in phase 1. Possibly in phase 2 we will, but not in phase 1. So we'll keep 70% of the actual fee. We'll keep 30% of the actual fee, and you'll get 70, and anything else on the side is yours.
Okay.
That's how we're looking at it at the moment. If you guys feel that's kind of fair. Questions? Anything else?
Okay, so then Janet asked, what stops me as being part of this network being asked to meet with 50 insurance salespeople? We can't assume that everyone approaches us with the same level of integrity.
All right. So from an integrity perspective, so there's a few things around that. So yes. Now you're familiar with star rating systems and that kind of thing. So first of all, in order to be part of My Most Trusted, you have to jump through 2 hoops. First of all, you've got to jump through the LinkedIn hoop. You need a LinkedIn profile, which means your email has been verified and you've gone through this process. However, we all know that 1/3 of all LinkedIn profiles are fake, and a whole bunch of them are used by other people. They're not actually there. They're not real. And only a small fraction of those are legit. But at least it's a first step. The next hoop they've got to jump through is they need to have been added to a trusted connection. So for those of you who haven't used My Most Trusted yet, we do lots of events. You can go onto mymosttrusted.net, get into. We do heaps of training events on the My Most Trusted page. You'll learn that in order to become part of My Most Trusted, you have to be added by a real person and added to your trusted connections. You will not refer somebody who is not a trusted connection. You have to add them to your trusted connection first to show that they've been vetted and you've vetted them. Then you can refer them. So that's going to eliminate the vast majority of problems. There can still be 1 or 2 idiots out there who are going to then try and refer people to 10 financial advisors or 10 lawyers, and those lawyers are just going to completely ignore them. They just simply don't get paid. You only get paid when that meeting takes place. And to begin with, I'm going to be watching to make sure that those meetings I'm going to look into that. It's like Fiverr. It's going to send the person and say, did the meeting take place? Are you ready to close off the deal? Yes, meeting took place, money gets transferred. So it has to be legitimate. It's very, very difficult to scam the system, guys. It's possible, but my gosh, you'd have to put a lot of work in. And if you don't do a proper referral, you don't get paid. Simple as that.
I think that's another reason to keep the referral fee low, because I think that will help maintain the integrity, because maybe you give more of a fee to when it becomes a sale. And I quite like Via's idea of it being a partnership, that you help close it, that I just like that whole feeling. I don't really want to feel that I'm going to get a load of bum leads. Obviously. Integrity is really important to me, and I know it's really important to a lot of people here. So I think whatever we can do to maintain that is really important.
Completely. And that trusted connection side of thing is really what it's about. We call My Most Trusted, and they're trusted connections because there are people that you know. But yes, but I do believe what's going to happen with this is to be in phase one, My Most Trusted just takes a percentage of a fee. We get paid, you guys get paid, but that's just the beginning. The next step is you interacting with that individual when the introduction is made to help that individual facilitate the meeting and possibly get referral commission and be part of that process. So Tracy, 100% right. Have I just lost you? Are we there? Am I there? Okay, Megan.
Hey, Scott, thanks very much. Thanks for inviting me in this space. Love the idea, you know this. Scott, just a word of caution there. I see you referring to the concept that Fiverr uses quite often during this presentation. Just one quick thing that came to mind now as a freelancer, using platforms that are similar. The one big thing that comes up a lot for people is that often when a client gets to log a dispute against the service provider, it's a very one-sided process. And so the service provider, the person making the connection in this case, the referral, doesn't get a chance to say, but yes, I have referred, I've done the process. So just make sure that all of that is nicely covered so that when somebody's going, right, I did have the meeting, I didn't have the meeting, yes, they referred me, no, they didn't. That is a really set process of accountability there, because that could blow things out of the water a bit. But other than that.
This is a huge point, guys. This is a huge point. Right. So there's a few things. First of all, if you're referring your trusted connection to somebody that is a trusted connection of yours, okay, you should have a great relationship with that person. So there's nothing stopping you picking up the call going, how was that meeting? How did it go? Was everything okay? You know, you should be a friend. So, you know, there shouldn't be a problem, because ultimately the dispute could be very quickly resolved if the person who's the outsider, the third party who's had the meeting goes, no, I had the meeting, it was fine. Done. Money gets transferred, sorted. That's the catalyst. That's the difference. There's a third party here and you're good mates with that third party, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be referring. That's the secret. Do you see, Megan? Do you see the difference? When you're working with Fiverr, you've got Fiverr and then you've got the job and then you've got the client, right? There's only two parties involved in the dispute. So it's he said, she said, and whatever, and there's a divorce and whoever gets the car and the house. That's what we want to avoid. This time you've got a third party. And because it's the introduction happens on LinkedIn, we can see everything. And we can go back to that third party and say, was there a meeting? Yes. And then the dispute can be fairly quickly resolved. That's the beauty about trusted connections, guys. You have that relationship. But it's a really good point, Megan. And this is stuff that we're going to be building over time. Really, really good point, though. But yes.
Thanks, Scott. Can I just add then that you're going to be a very busy man going forward?
Oh, well.
You mean I am?
Oh, there we go. Excuse us, Cherie.
Yeah. Okay, good. Next questions. With any other questions on the chat?
Yes,
or I want to hear from people, guys, who haven't spoken. A lot of people have got a lot to offer.
Very quickly, so then Michelle also, yeah, we're talking about, she wanted to know about My Most Trusted's integration with LinkedIn. How will this impact My Most Trusted's integration with LinkedIn? Will our profiles get flagged?
Oh, no, this is completely off LinkedIn. Remember, when you're on using My Most Trusted, everything happens within My Most Trusted. It's got nothing to do with LinkedIn. All the whole matching process, the only times you'll use LinkedIn is when you open a three-way chat to make the introduction, which is the softest form of LinkedIn. And then, of course, you can post on top of that. Guys, this is the safest way of using it.
But Mark, the question maybe is coming in when you are adding someone from LinkedIn to your My Most Trusted connection, the process of actually adding them, isn't that a bit of a scrape?
No, you'll be fine. It is a scrape. You are scraping data. Okay, and we've already, in fact, we had a conversation with somebody beforehand on this, which was really interesting on this. So what happens is we use minimal scraping, absolute minimum. So when you're on somebody's first degree LinkedIn profile of a trusted connection, and you know that person, and you've got access to their name, their job title, their email address, that's public information. And whether you copied manually and pasted it, or whether you push a button like in My Most Trusted that pulls that data into your system, it's the safest it can be. We don't scrape data behind the scenes. We don't go and start spamming people. We don't pull millions of email addresses. It's not how we work at all. Very, very, very minimal use of LinkedIn in that regard. So we're very careful about that. So the trusted connections being added, It's just sitting on the page and just saves time. That's all it is. So yeah, that's the safest you can possibly be.
Then one more question from Janet, just so you can answer it for other people. She's very keen on how to find out how to use My Most Trusted properly. So just let her and other people know how to do that.
Okay, cool. So there's two ways, guys. And I want to hear from other people. So you can install it yourself. It's a browser extension, which you can install on My Most Trusted. If anyone wants to stay a bit longer, we can also show you how to do that if you like. So I've just put the link and you can install it as a browser extension. But guys, I highly recommend you come to our events. We have events once, sometimes twice a week. We get people into a room. We're installing My Most Trusted. We're using it. We're getting referrals live on the system. We're going into breakout rooms. You get tech support. They're really fun. Does anyone want to be into one of those? I can testify how cool they are.
And then just very quickly, Calvin mentioned on the actual form to maybe put a yes/no requirement to have a one-to-one prior to the referral.
That's a nice idea, actually. Yeah, have a one-to-one beforehand. So what will happen, right, is when a job comes up and you say, Calvin Holidays will spend $100 if you can introduce him to a solicitor in Melbourne. And I go, okay, that's a great idea. But first of all, I'm thinking, okay, hang on a second. I can go to Calvin. I can connect with Calvin, and then I can say, well, listen, Calvin, you and I need to have a one-on-one first. Then I'll make the introduction. That's why I'm thinking about maybe that somebody on your side can also potentially offer a fee before making that appointment. There's some really cool stuff we can do. Right now, I just want to keep it really, really simple. Like very simple. Lead generation form, fill it out, make the option, and then we can start to see how that works. But in general principles, guys, how are you feeling? Like, what's your gut feel? How you guys, the more you dig into this, how do you feel about the way this can work? A couple of people say yes, they look good. I'm in. Workable. Yeah. Anybody want to unmute and make any other comments before we finish off?
I think you've
Debbie,
done a lot of.
Something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I think you've done a lot of good thinking on this in a lot of different respects. So well done.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. No, I appreciate that. The next time we meet and have a session, we will have a beta version ready to go. So you guys will be able to start beta testing it, and that's going to be quite exciting. It's going to be fairly simplified. Please don't expect a full Fiverr freelance system, Uber type style. It's basics. As you guys know, My Most Trusted is working. It's live. It's happening. Go on, enjoy it, have fun with it. This is going to be a plug-in to that My Most Trusted to allow it. There's a huge need, guys, that I can't begin to tell you what need there is out there at the moment. It's really, really a problem for people to get in front of the right people. They need it. They need referrals. And we with networks have got the opportunity to make those introductions. So why shouldn't we be paid for it?
All good.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Debbie. Excellent, guys. Thank you so much. Sorry about the internet issues. They were very, very frustrating, but I think we got some good. Any last comments before we finish off? Anyone good? Maybe Megan, if you want to put your details in, if somebody wants to quickly learn how to use My Most Trusted, Michelle is on the call, Megan's on the call. Anyone else, just put your details and you're welcome. They know My Most Trusted really well. Brenda, of course, she's good with My Most Trusted. If anyone of you want to put your details in, and if anybody wants to learn My Most Trusted, they're a good place to go to. But I highly recommend you come to our events, guys. Come to our events. They're great and they're free. Beautiful. Excellent, everybody. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your feedback. And yeah, within a couple of weeks, we'll have some progress on the development. Awesome. Cool. Everyone's saying goodbye. Enjoy. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Yep.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers. See you later. Bye. Bye.